Interestingly, before we started dating, I always said to myself, I don't think I could ever date a vegan.
There are times when I do judge. I can't lie and just be like, oh yeah, it totally doesn't bother me when you automatically order steak. That, like...
No, she did that.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome back to my channel. My name is Merle.
I'm Aria.
And we are dating.
Yes, almost 2 years now. Hi, wow.
A whole year.
I tried whistling there. I couldn't whistle.
Nothing came in.
No.
I get this question all the time from people saying, how do you date someone who's not vegan? So like the reason that we made this video in the first place is just to open the larger conversation, not to get approval from anyone else as to like why he's not vegan and I am, or why, why I'm okay with it or whatever. So basically what I'm saying is, if you're negative in the comments.
Get these fucking hands.
Well, I was just gonna say, if you're negative
They're
in the
gonna
comments.
know. They're gonna get these fucking hands.
If you're negative in the comments, you're only doing it to yourself. The frustration is only really gonna affect you, but you're also entitled to your opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but lead with love, maybe, huh?
Some opinions.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, people that kill people.
Yeah. People that torture people too.
Or animals.
Yeah. Wow.
My thoughts on this are, like, for me, it depends on the people in the relationship. Like,
I think it's very much case by case, right? Relationship by relationship,
yes.
and the people involved.
Yeah, you can't just look at every relationship where there's a meat eater and a vegan and be like, how do they all do it? You know what I mean? Because people are different and people go vegan for different reasons. Some people it's for health, some people it's for animals, some people it's for the environment. And there are a lot of different omnivores out there. Like some people that eat 80% plant-based, or some people that eat 10% plant-based. It's not like a one-size-fits-all answer. It probably has something to do with the fact that when I was growing up, my mom was vegetarian and she used to let me eat meat.
I can see how that would...
She didn't like cook meat for me. Like she wouldn't like make chicken for us, but she would buy me cold cuts at the grocery store, even though she'd been vegetarian for like 20 years. Just because she wanted me to like come to that decision by myself. But she would always talk to me about the environment and like we always had a lot of animals growing up. Like she definitely instilled like my love of animals in me at a young age without being like, yeah, you cannot eat meat, because if you eat meat, like you're a bad person.
Parents really shape their children, right? And I can definitely see that influence on you.
You attract more bees with honey than you do by smacking them around.
Is that a real saying?
Yeah.
That's a good saying.
Yeah. I think it's attract more flies with honey. And you know what else is really actually makes it easier is he doesn't eat a lot of dairy. Like he doesn't eat cheese.
No,
really.
I'm not a big cheese person.
When we go out to eat, I'm like, you order obviously whatever you want. But when we're here and he's cooking, he always cooks vegan meals. Well, people will always get angry about veganism.
Yeah, what? I was thinking about it. My breakfast generally nowadays is just they're oats, so that's vegan too. So basically my only meal of the day that's not vegan is like usually dinner.
I'm just luring him in and getting him into a false sense of safety so that I can spring all the documentaries on him at once. I look at it just like I'd look at any other thing that's a requirement in a relationship that I'd want to be in. It really depends on what you're comfortable with. Like, are you comfortable dating someone who smokes if you don't smoke? Are you comfortable dating someone who goes out a lot even if you don't go out a lot? Are you comfortable dating someone who jumps out of planes for fun? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a big leap, but yeah.
Like those are all things you have to solve for yourself.
When you're considering a partner, there are a lot of values to consider, right? Because like you want to make sure your values line up, and in many ways, what you eat is especially for a vegan, I would believe so. That is a big ethical value that you believe in. So I can imagine how that's difficult for you and other vegans to see yourself with someone who doesn't match or align with that value. So again, if you're someone that's vegan, I would say that doesn't want to be with someone who's a meat eater, then that's completely valid. Interestingly, before we started dating, I always said to myself, I don't think I could ever date a vegan. We eat vegan often together, especially when I'm here with you or on weekends and whatnot. But there are times where sometimes I'll eat something that involves like some seafood or some meat, and Merle has no problem with that. And so there again, it's case by case. So then you could be with someone who's a lot stricter, that refuse to date someone that's not vegan.
First of all, that's a good point that you made, because I feel like all the time the question is asked to the person that's vegan, like, how could you date someone that's not vegan? But it's actually sometimes the meat eater that's like, no. I feel like there's that stereotype of like the vegan person's the judgy person, or the one who's like, no, it's too difficult. But that's not always the case, okay?
I'll say this, I always envisioned it being very difficult for me to be with someone who didn't eat meat. Not just because of how I fear that might limit what I could consume, but also like because I enjoy sharing, dishes that include, seafood. Like my favorite dish of all time that I love to cook, that I love to eat, is spaghetti alla vongole, which is spaghetti with clams. Merle has made a delicious vegan version of that.
Merle.
Is it Merle?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thought of me not being able to cook Merle, some of my favorite dishes, it sucks, but I think it's not gonna, again, it's not like I'm not losing sleep over it, but so there was that kind of that hesitance on my end, which is always something I battled with, and it's c'est la vie.
I think something that makes it work with both of us is that we're both fairly open-minded. We also both really love to cook.
When it comes to vegan food, I have no issue. For me, in food in general, as long as it tastes good, I'm happy.
Actually, Aria makes more exceptions because he cooks plant-based food for me and himself all the time, whereas I'm not cooking meat for him.
That's very true, actually.
So
that's a good point. Oh, I need to cash in on that goodwill.
What the hell is that? Is that a shank?
No, this was me cashing in.
Oh,
like,
ching ching.
Yeah, I guess it looks like I was looking for a hand job.
Yeah, it did. I think I've introduced you to a lot more.
Oh, absolutely.
Foods.
Yes. The world of roasted veggies is something I never really explored before. Truly, before I started dating Merle, I hated cauliflower, I hated Brussels sprouts. Now I love roasting those things up.
The way I try to approach it is just present information or present things that maybe you wouldn't normally click on or you wouldn't normally watch, and then let you draw your own conclusions. We watched My Octopus Teacher, and I just wanted to see it. It was Academy Award nominee.
Winner, eventually.
And then winner. And anyway,
She wept. She wept. After we watched My Octopus Teacher, I told Merle, I'm not gonna need octopus anymore. It was very sad to see how smart they were, and to see, the relationship built with the human, and we can make that argument for, many other creatures that, non-vegans consume, but one step at a time.
From just a human being standpoint, a lot of the time I tend to go by the belief system of let people make their own choices in life and do what you can to add to their life in a meaningful way. I can only do so much. You can lead a horse to water, and
yes.
But that's me. So could that cause friction for me 10 years down the line? Who knows? I don't know. You're talking to us 1.5 years of dating. Been the way.
1 3/4.
Yeah, 1 3/4. And there are definitely different conversations that'll come up, like you said, if and when we move in together, if we were to have children, those are different approaches that I think will be conversations that'll shift the relationship. There are times when I do judge. I can't lie and just be like, oh yeah, it totally doesn't bother me when you automatically order steak.
Oh yeah.
Or you automatically order the meat option as opposed to a perfectly protein equivalent plant-based option. That
she did that.
That's definitely in there sometimes. It's not every meal, because if it was every meal, I wouldn't be able to do it. And it's not just you. I mean, it's just people in general. I think it's just as a society and as a culture, we are very meat first. So it's to see people defer to the meat option every time right away without considering or thinking about the plant-based option is frustrating for anyone that I'm around sometimes. But that's why I think your inclination to try plant-based foods and to cook plant-based foods kind of wipes that out more. But I'm not gonna lie and be it's completely easy all the time and I don't think about it and it doesn't bother me all the time, because that would be a lie.
And it's understandable too, I wouldn't begrudge that.
But then again, it's easier to make those decisions to eat animals when you haven't watched how they get to your plate.
And eventually, hopefully will come a day where, we go out there.
Lab-grown meat will be a real thing.
But I was also gonna say,
a farm? Hunting?
Hunt our own meat.
Me?
Wow.
I'm not hunting.
Wow.
I'm not hunting, but I have more respect for hunters than factory farming. Hunting for meat.
Hunting your own food.
Yeah, which you've never done, right?
That you know of.
That's why I just asked.
I have not.
It's sometimes it bothers me, sometimes it doesn't bother me. Does it bother me enough to end a perfectly wonderful relationship? No. That's just me, and that's my preference. Does it bother him that he can't cook me some of his favorite meals? Probably, but does it bother him enough to end a wonderful relationship? No. This is where we're at today. This is how it's been, it's how it's working, and it's working. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, please like, and catch us soon.
Lots of love.
On the flip side.
Pop-up says bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good job. I'll pinch him.